joining me on my journey as I work towards obtaining my master's degree in educational leadership from the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh. When I consider my career over the past 20 years, I am amazed at the wonderful opportunities I've had along the way. Being in school was definitely not one of my favorite things to do. In fact, if my high school class would vote on who would be least likely to be working in education, it would have been me. What changed was in my late 20s, I developed a love for learning, which led to my future career in higher education. From that job, and that was working in sales at a men's clothing store. At the same time, I was in my first year of college and didn't have a very good dedication towards my studies, similar to what it was when I was in high school. I became the top-selling salesperson and was promoted to assistant manager. At the same time, I became engaged and had a big decision to make. I was doing well in my job, and I loved it. My job was in Milwaukee. My fiance, on the other hand, was in lacrosse. I loved him too, so I had to decide of the two, what was I going to do? Stay in the job I loved in Milwaukee, or move to lacrosse to be closer to the man I loved? Well, he went out, my husband, and I moved to lacrosse and applied at the University of La Crosse as well. The position I found was selling booth spaces for home shows and shopping malls throughout the country. I started out in telemarketing sales and was later promoted, whereas I went out on the road to produce these shows. I was able to go to Las Vegas, Seattle, North Carolina, but unfortunately being gone so much also impacted my studies. My husband and I decided we wanted to try to see what the other parts of the country would be like. So my husband was able to get a transfer to Eugene, Oregon. I was relieved to get a break from my college career. Unfortunately, Eugene, Oregon, it was very difficult to find a job for myself. I ended up taking a job selling encyclopedias through World Book. Although I was successful enough to make ends meet, it was a very difficult job because I had to go door to door. About a year later, my husband and I decided to move closer to Wisconsin, and the closest we were able to get was Loveland, Colorado. For me, both professionally and personally, I was promoted to service manager after a short time. But during this time, I was also getting very homesick. So my husband put in for another transfer, and we moved to Rhinelander, Wisconsin. I couldn't find a job. I had brief career as an office manager for a casino shuttle business, taking catalog orders for a ski shop, and informed me that we had another transfer. I was excited to move out of this small little town and hoping for a big city. Unfortunately, instead, we moved to Marquette, Michigan. Although I wasn't very excited about moving there, this became a pivotal time in my life. I found a great job as the assistant director of the Ishpeming-Negaunee Chamber of Commerce. I loved this job. I sold memberships. I did a lot of event planning, like concerts and car shows. And I really thought that one day I'd like to be the director. But I realized in order to have that position, I really needed a college degree. So I decided to enroll at Northern Michigan University. After the first 2 weeks, I wanted to quit. I was overwhelmed and just thought I could not do this. I'm glad I didn't quit, because after that first 2 weeks, I flourished. I found out I had a love for learning. I ended up being on the dean's list every semester, and when I graduated, I was named Outstanding Graduating Senior for the Public Relations Department. After graduating, my husband and I moved to Shawano. And I read an ad in the newspaper, the one ad, and found a position that really interested me, which was the assistant director position for Lakeland College's Green Bay campus. I was excited about working with adults who were similar to myself, who struggled going to college that first time right out of I'm planning on retiring after a few years and I will sell it to you. Well, after 7 years of working there, I realized that she wasn't going to be retiring anytime soon. So I decided to look for another opportunity. I saw an ad for a job at Northeast Wisconsin Technical College, Teacher Partnerships Manager at NWT. I love what I do. I'm able to incorporate so many of the jobs that I've had over the past 20 plus years. I work with businesses as I had when I worked for the staffing agency. I work with education as I had with Sylvan Learning Center. It's really the best of all worlds. Most importantly, I'm able to work in a field that I love, which is higher education. But as I pursue my master's degree, I'm thinking about other opportunities that may come my way, either being a dean or another opportunity within the college. The future, I don't know what it holds, but I know it's going to be exciting.
Here is a word picture of my leadership philosophy, program goals, and dispositions.
My research paper on influencers of student persistence for female non-traditional displaced workers. Understanding this population is important due to a study done by Horn and Wecco 2009 found only 49 of students after their third year had completed a credential at the institution in which they were first enrolled. This attrition rate spikes when one considers non-traditional students compared to their traditional student counterparts. Alarmingly, Choi 2002 found non-traditional students seeking an associate's degree, 27 versus 53 of traditional students, were less likely to earn a degree. The qualitative study I did had me interview 3 women over the age of 50. There are a significant number of individuals that are attending a community college through the workforce development system, and understanding how to help these women succeed is important with decreasing tax dollars going to fund educational. From the literature review, it was determined to examine 3 key areas in student persistence: external factors, college environmental factors, and internal factors. Tinto, 1975, concluded that the college's environment related to social and institutional integration were key factors that led to persistence. Bean and Metzner, 1985, found that external factors superseded the college environment. The study by Sandler, 2000, found internal factors of career decision-making self-efficacy to be most relevant for student persistence. These theories were tested to determine which of these factors had the greatest influence on persistence. Goal attainment was identified throughout each interview as being the critical component leading to student persistence in the axial coding process. It is important to note that goal attainment was not a specific question asked to the interviewees, as were their impressions of how family support, student peer support, faculty/advisor support, academic ability, and career decision-making self-efficacy impacted their ability to succeed. All 3 women spoke passionately about their desire to earn their degree. I told an event to prove I can finish it for myself. All 3 women interviewed were emphatic that they were not going to quit because they wanted to earn their degree. The implication of this study is female non-traditional students who are in their late 50s and beyond and are displaced workers had unique reasons why they persist. It is important for educational institutions to consider these factors as it assists these students to be successful in earning their degree. A one-size-fits-all persistence program will probably not be successful for all of the institution's learners. It is critical that the college develop unique persistence programming that addresses the influencers for success with different demographic segments of the student body. I hope to do a more comprehensive study with a larger group of women to confirm the results of my original study.
I'd like to conclude with a few things that I've learned through going through the Educational Leadership Program at UWO Oshkosh. My position at NWTC really hasn't changed, but I feel more confident as a leader in the different organizations that I lead. The educational leadership degree gave me a better understanding of how to be a better leader. It has given me a better understanding of some of the things that I've done, why they worked and why they didn't work. And as I reflect, I think of a few things that really stand out that I've learned along the way. One is my ability now to use research in making decisions instead of just going with my gut feeling. I believe I really have enhanced my ability to do research as well. I'm really looking at scholarly research and understand the difference between using Google over using scholarly journals that are available. Second, I'm leading college marketing initiatives to not forget the importance of non-traditional students. I've learned along the way is really how to lead change. And that was one of the great things about this program that really emphasized the importance of leaders need to be able to lead change initiatives. I now understand the process that people need to go through when change happens at work. The Call's 1996 cycle of change model has shown me the